Morning. Myanmar is a fascinating country. It's what Thinzar Shunlei Yi, who I'm going to introduce now, talks about the complex situation in her country as they struggle to become free from the chokehold of military dictatorship that suppressed the country for so long. And of course, for most of us, Myanmar, Burma's light was kept shining by that great moral force, Aung San Suu Kyi, who has emerged as a leader, of course, as she always was, but as a guide. But it's not enough for a country that must reinvent itself, that must struggle to understand the complexities that dictatorship kept suppressed for so long, and which emerge seemingly anew, but were always there. And so you need people to try and unpick the complexity of freedom and choice. It's a terrible thing, freedom. It's a very difficult thing to have choice. Most people revert, if they've never known it before, to their chosen chains of repression. Myanmar is not one of those places, and it's not one of those places because of people like Thinzar. As with most of the people you find on this podium over the days, they are extraordinary people. Their countries will be made by them, and in turn the rest of us are remade in that image also. It's what John talked about as this consistency of oneness, if you like. There's a knock-on effect of things well done that makes us all better. She may stand for Parliament when she gets to the age of 25 next year, and one hopes that she does, because she is one of those hyperactive people that makes me really annoyed. She has begun as a teacher, school teacher, teaching orphans, people with HIV/AIDS, just driven generally in that direction. And as they taught her and opened her eyes, so she set about concocting out of nothing these civil society organizations that Kofi constantly goes on about, because in his life, as in John's, what they've seen is that it is people outside of the normal isolates of power determine the future, not the people who assume power unto themselves. She is one of those people. I'm not going to go through her CV because it is seriously endless. She's been recognized all over the world for her advocacy for the many movements and for the many difficulties that Myanmar faces, and by constructing civil society organizations, as I said, to unpick and try and understand the complexities of what it is to be free and to be democratic. She will succeed because she's just one of those people who doesn't know what it is to fail. Ladies and gentlemen, Thinzar Shunlei Yi.
It is such a privilege being here, and thank you for introductions. Myanmar has the longest running civil war. For over 60 years, it has been raged. Why? Because there are no less than 21 different ethnic armed rebel groups active in Myanmar. They rebel against the discriminations, injustice, and oppressions by the military gender. It is a complicated ethnic conflict, not only identity politics between the ethnicity, Buddhist, Christians, Muslim, Rohingya, but also a geopolitics, such as interference of neighboring China. During this time, Myanmar was under military control. Consistent and systematic human rights violations have been reported by UN and other organizations. But in 2015, we got the first ever civilian government led by Nobel Peace Prize winner Dr. Aung San Suu Kyi. Finally, there is a hope for peace. The country is now moving towards democracy. There are still fights going on in last week too. In Myanmar, about 50% of the populations are under 35. We are forced to deprive of our choices, but we rebel against the oppressive regimes throughout the history, and we become the change agent of Myanmar. So I believe we, the young people, are the key. Our constitutions, our country constitutions, remain drafted by the military and allows a 25% military quota in the parliament. I truly believe we can achieve genuine democracy with such military prerogative being enshrined in the constitution. And local elections remain degraded rather than democratic. Muslim party members are excluded in running the general elections by the ruling party. All these devices rather than forming an inclusive society. So I campaign for legal reforms. I've organized regional, national, and local youth forums for national youth policy developments in 2012. The new government recognized our works, and now the youth policy process undergoing this year. I co-organized peace rallies in 2012, and thousands of people joined us. In 2013, young people could call for peace minister in France, claiming our demand to stop civil war. In 2016, we had 21st Century Penang Peace Conference. This year, I organized a coalition which was supported by the more than 70 organizations which together research for the law weaknesses and campaign on truth, national radio, TV, towards the constitutional amendment. This is a challenging task in my country because you are always running a risk of being arrested or being harassed by the local authorities. More recently, I advocated to the parliaments for universal suffrage in the village level and to repeal the law of get registration law, which violates freedom of movement. Due to our consistent advocacy and public actions, this meant both parliament passed to retract that gets registration law. I came from a family with a military background. My family has a strong opinions on the minority, especially on Muslim. So it wasn't easy for me to understand the other side till I became a teenager and came to know the other stories and realized, oh, there is another different side I didn't know. So I thank here to my friends from different backgrounds who opened up my closed eyes to see the beauty of the diversity. I learned terrorism and extremism is not a group of people. It is an ideology that we can't destroy by weapons. Dialogues are the most influential and effective tools to engage young people on diversity and prevent their radicalizations. Exposures to other groups and ethnicity will help young people to understand each other, find the alternatives, and create friendships, and ultimately will help promote peace and tolerance. I organized the hashtag #MyFriend campaign, focusing on positive stories on friendship to counter all forms of discrimination. People are encouraged to proudly share their selfies with their friends from other different religions or ethnicity, and share their cross-cultural friendship stories, positive view of their diverse group and relationship. And it reached over 1 million people through social media. I believe we can raise the moderate voices while keeping ourselves moderate. I see the problems happening in the world as a result of countering the hatred with hatred, rooted in fear and insecurity of losing identity. So young people out there, it is our task to heal the world with love, care, and kindness. Our one young world is not only an opportunity to see the differences between us, but also a chance to make friends, share stories, and understand each other. By this opportunity, I also would like to call on all to listen, help the minority in my country in this hard democratic transition. Thank you so much.